Rejoice, everyone. We're back with another Sekhie Reacts to Fate. This week we're doing Georgios, or St. George, and I'm particularly excited about this one.
Somebody that I preconceptually cited in our last video with no knowledge. Because I completely forgot St. George was next in the schedule. And so I referenced St. George and St. George and the Dragon, and just... don't you love fate?
Yeah.
Literally. And figuratively.
I'm happy with this one because something tells me I'm going to be talking less. You're going to have to hear me less. It's a win-win.
Do you not just like Georgios?
He's alright. There's just...
It's St. George from George and the Dragon. George martyred supposedly by Diocletian. George later turned into a medieval folktale.
He's about... I like him as much as the next medieval folktale.
It's nice to be doing another Roman servant.
Fair enough, fair enough. That said, this one's leaning a little bit more on the Christian side of Rome.
It was the joke. I figured they would be. You know, this is, like, in theory, this is another Roman servant. But, like...
Let's be real here, though. Christianity does have its roots in the Roman Empire.
George of Lydda, right? The Christian martyr who lived around the 3rd century. He's basically a different character to St. George from St. George and the Dragon, right? Because George, who lived around the 3rd century, came from Cappadocia, which was part of the Roman Empire, right? Cappadocia is a region in Turkey, modern-day Turkey. But it was a region in modern-day Turkey that was populated by Greeks. So he was a Cappadocian Greek. He was supposedly, according to historical records, which sort of date anywhere from, like, the 6th century to the 9th century. They kind of... The first, like, really complete story about him is recounted in the 6th century, but he's mentioned before that, right? So he is a member of the Roman army, and potentially a member of Emperor Diocletian's Praetorian Guard, and the reason why he's martyred is because he is a Christian man, and as we know, those of us who know Roman history know, Emperor Diocletian was one who essentially imposed pogroms and execution against those of Christian faith who refused to renounce their Christian faith. He was like, you will be not Christian. And they were like, no. And he was like, okay, burn. Die. Which made a lot of martyrs. Supposedly, according to some authors, him being made martyr was part of what helped convince over 40,000 people to turn to Christianity, including Empress Alexandra, Diocletian's wife at the time, which was one of the largest conversions of Christians all at one time during the period. Although, once again, we have like 2 or 3 different fragmentary sources, and they all differ a little bit from one another. So none of them are like 100% agreeable or accurate about that. If it makes sense. You know? So, kind of starting from a place that, like, don't have a whole lot known about them. Let's see. Now, the earliest veneration, the earliest worship we can find of St. George as the martyr and the saint comes from likely the late 4th century to early 5th century, whereas his miracles, like the miracles attributed to St. George, didn't really start until the medieval times. Like the defeat of the dragon is actually part of a medieval hagiography, not the Roman era hagiography. Let's see. The earliest source is one of the 5th century that we have, although there's potentially an unnamed character in a 4th century narrative that is associated with Georgios. So in the Greek tradition, which is what he's primarily recorded in initially, he's born to Christian parents in the Cappadocia region. His mother was originally from Lydda, which is where he gets the George of Lydda, because she returned to her hometown with George, and that's where he entered the Roman army. Then supposedly he might have traveled to the Eastern Imperial capital of Nicomedia, but that's not confirmed one way or another. His method of execution was decapitation, and this happened supposedly on the 23rd of T.H.E. No! 23rd of April, 303. Buddy, I need you to chill. I need you to just chill for 10 minutes for me to finish this. Or go bother Knick Knack. Oh, fuck. Okay. Now, the first recording that we have, right, of George and the dragon as a myth happens from a Georgian source in the 11th century, making it to Latinized Europe about a century later in the 12th century. According to the Golden Legend, which was written another century after that, his death was at the hands of Dacian around year 287 rather than Diocletian in 303. Based on this version of the story, it said that there was a dragon that was inciting panic in Libya when George arrived there. To prevent this dragon from destroying the people and the city, they would feed it 2 sheep every day, but when the sheep stopped being enough, they started sacrificing humans, elected by the city's own officials. Eventually, the king's daughter was chosen, and no one wanted to take her place. George then saved the girl by killing the dragon with his lance. He was offered treasures as a reward for saving his daughter's life, but George refused them and insisted that all these treasures be given to the poor. The people of the city were so amazed that they renounced paganism and became Christians and were all baptized collectively. So as you can see, this is an incredibly Christian myth in how it enters the historical record, like very, very early on, because that is one of those things about myths and folklore about martyrs, is that often the original Christian version did a good thing, then everyone saw this and became baptized because of their faith in this one man doing a good thing.
Yes, the Christians have been here.
Yeah. So, that's fun. St. George and the Dragon story would actually, in the medieval period, go on to become a fairly prolific subject of romance novels. And it was during this period, in the period of medieval romance, that I think we're going to get something that's going to be represented in Fate, which is that his lance that he slew the dragon with was officially named Ascalon, after the city of Ashkelon in Israel. And then that name, Ascalon, was actually later, it's what Winston Churchill named his personal plane during World War II. He named it the Ascalon. And because of these myths of St. George and the Dragon, iconography throughout Europe of a horseman with a spear overcoming evil, often in the form of a dragon, became incredibly popularized. So St. George and the Dragon is likely a large selection of the reason that we have so much iconography of a knight on horseback with a lance slaying dragons and other large beasts and evils. Like, this is sort of the original
European dragon story.
Yeah, this is the original European dragon story. Georgios is actually represented in Muslim folklore as well, which is pretty interesting. Not incredibly. He's not incredibly well represented there, but he is mentioned as being martyred under Diocletian. And Diocletian killed him 3 times. He was resurrected every time. And then there's a Persian version of the same Muslim story where when he resurrects the dead, he makes tree sprouts and pillars bear flowers. And at one point when he dies, the world is covered by darkness, which is only lifted when he's resurrected. And then he converts the queen, but she is put to death. So remember the Empress Alexandra that I said became Christian after witnessing his death? So she also was martyred for the cause. cause, for her faith. She was martyred for her faith. It's not like it was a cause per se. These people were just living their lives being Christian. And Diocletian was like, well, can't have that. Guess they gotta go. It really sucks. Such a shame. Kill them.
Such a shame.
Off with their heads.
Such a shame. She was great in bed, but...
Oh, that's foul. That's foul, Knick-Knack. Oh. So, under the reign of Constantine the Great, there was a church built to him in Lydda. Eusebius wrote about this. And actually a lot of... So St. George was popular all through basically the entirety of the Middle East and Eastern Europe for a really long time. I mean, he did reach into Western Europe, obviously, but he was also really popular in the East. So, like, at one point, Moscow and a lot of other major cities claimed patronage from St. George. So a lot of cities have claimed the patronage of St. George and that sort of thing. He's incredibly revered in the Levant, which sort of, you know, in the general sphere of his direct influence. Let's see. And then George is also the patron saint of England, which is fun. So the St. George cross is the red cross on a white background, does form the national flag of England, which then is overlapped with St. Andrew's flag, the Scottish flag, to form the Union Jack. And then the Union Jack is represented in the other countries of the Commonwealth. So it's the patron saint and the protector of the British royal family as well, which is so funky. Like this Greek-Turkish Roman martyr is the patron saint of Britain and the British royal family.
There are some awful jokes I could be making about that right now, but I'm going to hold my tongue on that
one. I just think it's interesting. Part of that's probably because starting in the 15th century, when classical heraldry was kind of at the height of its growing period, it was really popular to create coats of arms for different families and to attribute them to historical characters and saints and monsters and like great beasts from the era before, right? So a lot of saints were cited in the creation of various different heraldic coats all over Europe.
And sometimes you just run out of ones from your own country, so you pluck them from the other side of Europe.
But, what? Yeah. Oh, I had an even more horrible thought.
I'm sure it wasn't as bad as the thought I had to hold back on, so up to you.
So, remember how he's Cappadocian Greek?
Yeah.
Right? What happened? Do you know anything about the Greek monarchy?
No.
Oh, this is going to be a fun story then. Okay, so in roughly, I think, late 1700s, early 1800s, Greece was kind of coming into its own as sort of, not necessarily an independent nation, but like a nation, right? And so the European monarchs were like, oh, you know, we don't really like the idea of them becoming like their own nation, not under one of us. So I think it was the Habsburgs, something like one of the major main families, just was like, you see, this is my son Otto. This is now Otto the First, King of Greece. This was like a German man or something. Like he'd never been like this is like something like that. And so like King Otto the First became King of Greece, and the Greek people were not a fan of this, right? Like this was a Western European monarchy ruling over the country of Greece, basically, and you know, they kind of married back and forth with the other main families in Europe. And I think some of the most famous descendants include Queen Elizabeth's husband, and I think several of his what would be siblings, right? His older sisters and stuff were married to Nazi high officials and supporters of the Nazi regime in Germany during World War II. So technically, there is a British royal connection to Greece in the royal family. It's not a good one. Anyways, it's just a fun little thing, you know? Just a fun little thing. Much of his actual traditional iconography does depict him in the, at least like church iconography, depicts him in the robes, or not in the robes, but in the clothing of like a Roman soldier. So the medieval romances lean very much into this like chivalric knight, but then like traditional church doctrine leans very hard into like the Roman martyr, because that's what he is. The romances matter very little to the church. So yeah. That's it. Oh, one of my favorite movies. Once Upon a Mattress, deep take. This was like a TV movie. I'm not talking about the musical. I'm talking about the TV movie. Once Upon a Mattress has a joke in the beginning where she's like undergoing a test to determine whether she's a real princess, because it's a Princess and the Pea based like comedic musical, and one of the questions is that like it is all about St. George, the knight who slayed the dragon, because even though this is set in this weird fantasy world, for some reason we can ask about like our worlds, you know. We're not going to question the logic of a comedic musical that was never meant to be serious, but it was like how many rows of teeth and what were they made of, and what was the name of like the blacksmith's daughter's best friend's sister. Anyways, it was a fun little, it's the very beginning of the movie, and it's just a fun little interplay. Kind of showing off like how influential St. George and the Dragon is. That it did make it into a fairly prominent kind of opening scene of this, because Once Upon a Mattress was also a musical, right? That is very popular. The movie's not as well known. I've never actually seen the musical, but I've seen the movie. Anyways, yeah.
So,
Lancer.
Georgios. Okay. It's wrong, but makes sense that you would assume that.
The reason I say it is because all of his most famous iconography, right? At least in terms of like the Western European depictions, lean towards chivalric lancemen. Going by like the Roman depictions, I mean maybe a saber? But like, oh, but he's a saint, so he can be a ruler, right? Saints can be rulers? So he could be a ruler. Is he a ruler?
Those are all very, very, very good guesses, actually. Honestly, I didn't even expect you to bring up the saber, the fact that some depictions of him aren't with a lance with a sword in the Roman versions.
Yeah.
But they're all wrong. He's a rider.
I mean, yeah, when he's shown with the lance, he's usually depicted on a horseback, but... Okay.
Look, they were all great guesses. I'm not going to fault you there. Like, no one is saying that he would not qualify for every single one of those classes.
I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think I am. I feel like Fate really likes to just, like, I feel like there are so many servants we've gone over who feel like they should fit into like Lancer or Saber or Archer. But then Fate is like, there was one picture with a horse. This is a horse girl. Make it a rider. I feel like I've had that happen a lot lately to me, where I've been like, oh, it makes sense for this person to be this thing. And then it's like, nope, he's a rider. I feel like that's happened a lot lately.
I mean, fair, but you also only have so many riders you can do otherwise.
It feels like a cop-out.
Also, just because he's a rider doesn't mean that's the only class he summons. Just the class that we summon him as this time.
I know, but it feels like a cop-out.
Like,
the horse is incidental. The lance is the important part.
Well, you're going to have a fun time with this one. Let's flip over to this.
Oh, he better not be half horse.
No, we're never doing that again. We've covered our half horse quota with Zhang Yu and red hair.
Okay, sword. All right. What? I think the problem I'm having is that they've gone very medieval Europe, per se, right? Like tabard, like that's either a tabard surcoat or something essentially inspired, and like a form of like chest plate and plate mail that's very indicative of like the Middle Ages, which in theory, if you're going with the Middle Ages, you should go with the lance depiction of him. If you're gonna put him in a sword, put him in a Roman fucking suit of armor. Choices were made here. I don't know if I agree with those aesthetic choices.
We have designs to go over.
I know, I haven't even looked at them. They've gone so medieval only to give him a fucking sword. What is the point?
So, this is Georgios.
Also, do you know how unrealistic it is to just be using a sword on horseback? Anyways.
Well, did any one of those sprites have him on horseback?
No.
So, he's actually a servant originally created for use in Fate Apocrypha, but was scrapped when the series went from an MMO to a light novel.
Okay.
He was later introduced
Topical, I like it.
Yeah, well, at least for us.
Yeah.
He was later introduced into FGO as a 2-star rider class servant at the game's launch.
Has he gone up a star, or is he still 2-star?
He's still 2-star.
There are 2-star servants?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've seen a few of them.
I feel like I've forgotten that there are 1 and 2-star servants
I don't
altogether.
usually specify the stars for these servants, unless like launch servants. So even then. But yeah, Georgios is a relatively straightforward knightly figure in his depiction. He's an upright figure of virtue. His largest mix-up is that he enjoys the modern camera. I'll be honest here, his roles in FGO kind of start and end with Orleans, where he's one of many more or less throwaway characters.
I forgot he was even there.
He helped John cure a curse, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
You didn't read Orleans outside of the manga, so.
Yeah.
So that's just early FGO writing for you. He's given a different role in FGO Arcade, though. I won't go into the events of that game, but the Camelot singularity becomes the Jerusalem singularity, which is an alternate version of Camelot in which the Lion King and the Knights of the Round didn't stop the assaulting Crusaders from taking over the entire area. Instead, the land was invaded by a sole Crusader, Jacques de Molay. We aren't going into him, otherwise I'd have given you that name as well.
Yeah.
But long story short, he summons his own servants to be lackeys. Amongst them is Georgios, who ends up serving the same role as Gawain, guarding a city that is only to contain the souls of deceased people.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets his full villain arc. Not that he has much of an arc beyond saying that, because he's a... He just says that he's doing it for the sake of humanity. We leave it at that. He dies. So
yeah.
Another dud role, I guess.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Alright, we have some relationships. I cannot deny that intense faith can sometimes lead to sadness, like that lightning emperor. But there is also no doubt that believing in something can also offer peace of mind to some. Okay. Saint Martha, the woman with unparalleled benevolence, I am honored to meet you. A close friend in the Saint team, he places tremendous trust in her, although I must say I am more well known. This is true. Ah, Jeanne d'Arc, it's you. It's almost time for prayer. Would you like to join me? A close friend in the Saint team, albeit on a different branch. As a fellow Saint, he is quite proud of her fame, which rivals or even surpasses his own. Although I must say, I am quite strong. Did y'all forget humbleness as an element of this man?
Did I say humbleness?
Something of a mishap that defiles the name of a saint. Perhaps it was due to such a shock that Georgios is incapable of seeing Jeanne alter. Although I must say, my camera is somewhat out of focus. Ah, you are from that one time. If you don't mind, please let me take a photograph again, for the sake of keeping record of our daily lives. Okay.
I don't actually remember where he met those characters.
Yeah, Odysseus, Circe, Orion, and Jason and Arjuna? That's an odd combination because of Arjuna, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But also, why does that say... Oh, okay, so they just didn't put the slash.
Yeah.
It's just an odd conglomeration of people to be reacting to. Interesting. I'm a little sad you barely get anything for some of these, you know? Okay.
So, Georgios is surprisingly bulky. Draco herself says that. Possibly as a defense... He's possibly as defensive as Gawain, though he is pretty straightforward in terms of offensive ability. He just kind of uses his sword hopping on and off his horseback when fighting enemies. What he has in his corner mostly is his multitude of noble phantasms.
Mm-hmm. I see some interesting personal skills. So Guardian Knight, the protecting many countries, that's the countries that have claimed his patronage, right? So it's not just England, but there's like a bunch of major cities throughout Europe claim his patronage, the country of Georgia, lots of other places. Soul of a Martyr, makes sense. Okay, so his first noble phantasm is Ascalon.
Yes, FGO goes with the interpretation that Ascalon is a sword. It's a holy sword that provides additional defensive abilities to its wielder.
This man is literally the reason that iconography of a knight on horseback with a lance defeating evil is so popular throughout Europe. When you gave him
It can also be infused with draconic properties by Georgios using another noble phantasm of his.
That I don't give a shit about. It's the form it's in.
Look, I'm presenting the information here. I don't have an answer as to why they picked a lance. Or why they picked a sword over a lance, okay?
I know. Okay, Abyssus Draconis?
So George can identify his target as good or evil that must be defeated.
Mm-hmm.
If Georgios deems them evil, it imparts draconic property onto the target, which renders them weak to dragon slayers, Georgios included. This is one of those classic FGO meme support abilities. Slap Georgios on a team, declare Thomas Edison a dragon, watch Siegfried or your choice of anti-dragon servants beat the shit out of Thomas Edison.
That's fair. Interfectum Draconis.
Georgios can make use of an alternate ability of Ascalon, granting it anti-draconic abilities that makes it effective against dragons, including the ones he deems dragons, and allows him to fire javelins of light at his targets a short distance away.
Including an Edison.
Yes, including Thomas Edison.
And Bayard, his horse.
Yep. His horse capable of granting him... Yeah, it actually gives him slight invulnerability. While riding it, Georgios can never be dealt a lethal blow, with the horse capable of nullifying those attacks altogether.
That's fine. Okay. I'm gonna read the... Oh, there's not like notes from the... Okay. Alright, see who else they did. But there's no notes that... about it. Oh. That's the only character I've seen that they've done.
They did the dinosaurs. Remember the dinosaurs from the Kukulkan video?
Oh, is it the dinos?
Yep, and T'Pau.
T'Pau. I don't remember T'Pau. The fuck is T'Pau?
It's a dinosaur.
Oh, that's why. Okay. Man, okay. Well, to be fair, created by someone else originally. Somebody let me know in the comments if the creator has ever given a reasoning for it being a sword, not a lance. Because we have plenty of people using swords, especially holy fucking swords. You literally have Artoria, you know? I'm a little saddened that we don't get Ascalon the lance, like the famous, like the thing that makes the iconography the knight on horseback with the lance. Specifically, the lance. So how new is he?
He is launched, but this is an animation update.
Yeah, I could tell that. His proportions are fixed.
So I can't say I remember the context behind his animation update. He hasn't appeared in a chapter since Orleans.
Oh, has he not?
Yeah, and he's not a particularly common event servant.
Oh. I swear I've seen him on Raid Up recently.
He shouldn't have. He's only on the Friend Point banner.
I swear I saw his face on a Raid Up banner.
Really shouldn't have. Maybe on the Friend Point banner? 2 stars aren't on normal banners.
I feel like or maybe he was like featured in something. I feel like I've seen his face in the game, in the last couple of months.
You
Like,
didn't make it that far.
featured, big.
You didn't make it that far into what's it called? Willem Harlot. I don't think he was in Willem Harlot actually.
Chat, let me know because maybe I'm going crazy, but I swear I remember it. Ooh, he has an arcade.
Yep.
It's been a while since we've had an arcade.
Personally, I just think you're going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
No, I'm positive. I'm positive.
See, look, 2-star.
Yeah, but still.
ライダーゲオルギウス召喚に応じ生産しました。さあ頑張りましょう。もらった。はあ、これで終わりだ。これこそがアスカロンの真実。汝は竜、罪ありき。アスカロン。
So, like, you want to know a little fun bit of context behind this?
What?
This arcade NP is older than his animation update. So his animation update includes Bayard. His arcade animations, because they're older, don't include
Bayard. Oh. That's...
So for the longest time, Georgios was a rider without a horse. Like, that horse is a recent innovation in Georgios Technologies.
Jesus. Well, that's certainly a look. Oh, 2 very different artists here. I like that. I like the photographer. Fits in. Okay. He's old, so he should have stuff. And he does. He even has some extra stuff. Look, I think his design looks great. He does look like something out of a medieval romance.
This isn't a Caesar situation where you're just appalled by the design and you think it's unfitting for the character. You just think this is missing out on so much of what they could have done with Georgios.
Yeah, like, no, he looks like straight out of like a medieval manuscript, like medieval romance manuscript. You know what I mean? Like, he looks great.
If someone had come to you and just said this was Saber Georgios and you had the Lancer version or Rider with a lance before,
yeah, then I'd be like, okay, cool, but where is my Lancer version? Oh, look, a bunch of people. Oh, look, a bunch of people. Oh, cool, he's on his own. They're not always on their own. Aww!
Little dragon.
Little dragon! With the little flag. It's such a chunky dragon, too. Look at how fat it is, like in relation to Peachy! Where's my fatty? I can't hold Peachy on my arm like that. She's too big.
Don't you have the fat dragon somewhere around here from the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Oh, the plushie?
Yeah.
It's in my room.
Ah.
Yeah, too bad. If you'd mentioned it, I would have pulled it out. All right. Feet.
That event is ongoing in NA right now.
Yep, I tried with the quiz. I did better than my nemesis on my first try. I didn't do good, but I did better than my nemesis. He said that photographs were his hobby, that they were a tool to record a world, a grand landscape that's beyond imagination. He laughed to hide his embarrassment, and then showed me all of the pictures he had taken and saved. A sleeping cat, a ship, his room during Halloween, and of course all the workers at Chaldea. Common everyday landscapes and people. For that is what he left behind in those precious photos of his. The beautiful world that can be seen all around us. Oh. Saint's Invitation. Oh. Looks nice. The house of God gives everyone an equal chance, especially tonight on the festival of the Holy Birth. We offer a warm welcome to all who visit this holy night. Come in. You are welcome to join too. Oh. Mane of Bayard. An accessory made from the mane of Bayard, the invincible horse that itself is a noble phantasm. That alone is reassuring enough, but because a number of saints and other holy servants gathered to pray over it, you will not encounter any ghosts or demons if you take this relic to a haunted place. In fact, not only will you not encounter any ghosts, but any ghosts around you would be purified. Ah, so it's a weapon of mass destruction and terror. Oh, he's right here.
Something tells me this is not a Georgios C.
No, but there's cats and Achilles. I don't think I know several of the people in this.
It's Martha at the front.
Yeah, but I don't know this person.
Yeah.
And I don't know that person. Detective Edmund. Oh yeah, I remember this. Even a detective needs a moment of respite. That does not mean mysteries follow suit, however. With the conclusion of the case of the masked man, Detective Dantes takes a quick trip. He visits a coffee shop run by an old acquaintance of his, and while the detective reminisces about the good old days, a new request comes in from a mysterious Frenchman. This particular request brings the detective back to his homeland, leading him to yet another grand case. Yeah. Ah, the travel journal. Close up on him. Man, he's really just leaping around there. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I need to re-enable ad blocker. Okay, so Nomizo Falls in Chiba. Lovely. It's not always so bad. I used to have one enabled, and I think I turned it off because, like, one of the updates didn't work with it.
The problem is, like, a lot of ad
Yeah.
blockers, especially right now, just don't work with YouTube very well.
Yeah. I'm not on YouTube.
We were a second ago, though.
Yeah, but I'm not on YouTube right now. This is because we're on Fandom.
Yeah, Fandom's the worst.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's also the best collection of, like, these images right now.
Didn't they make, like, a backup double like they did for Minecraft for the... Oh, that's annoying. Why don't we go to... Does Game Press have it?
Game Press has all the gameplay information. It does not have all this art. This is the best collection of, like, FGO's art.
To photographers, Christmas offers unique opportunities. Everything is done in order to eternalize all the bustling lights and the people's smiles as memories. I kind of expected more from how old he is, you know?
Well, if you couldn't tell, he's not very popular either.
That's disappointing, because, like, here's the thing. I like him. I think he's great. Is he perfect? No. Do I wish there was a Lancer version of him? Yes. But I don't hate him. I like him.
Sounds like you'd also like something like what they did with Hector and Roland, where it brings up the fact that Durandal is the same weapon from both of them, just at different points in time, and exists as a spear and a sword. Like the ability to pay homage to the fact that at different, in different literary tellings, that Durandal was a sword or a
yeah,
sword,
and the thing is, I don't doubt that there's like probably a version or two where he is using a sword to slay the dragon. But the most iconic one, and the one present in the iconography that affected all of Europe, is the lance. So I'm a little disappointed that we didn't at least get, like, an acknowledgement of the lance. We've just been given Ascalon the sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah. I feel like a really good hint for the next one is that I feel like Jens is going to be very excited. This is one of the first times I've cited a commenter as part of a hint, but
I don't know if Jens actually likes his servant or not, so I can't comment.
But the topic, the things we discuss.
Your kneading is painful, Peachy.
And with that, with my own fat little fuzzy dragon over there leaving, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.